I've been reflecting back on 2008, right?
Yeah.
So when that recession hit, on some of the similarities as a business owner and looking to plan, looking back into similar situations. And while there are some similarities to that, obviously, we have seen things like unemployment. We saw a big pullback in marketing overall in 2008. While I, as a business owner, braced for a downturn in business because our focus is digital marketing, we actually saw a movement of dollars then. So it's hard to think back to 2008 compared to what digital marketing is now. Not that it wasn't evolved, but there were still a lot of dollars in other places. And that's where I feel like in 2008, there was this shift. But I think one of the differences, though, is with the stock market then really was taking a hit. Now we're seeing sort of this, if you look at unemployment and things like that, our economy is really, really struggling. But the stock market isn't necessarily indicating the same. And so I think the difference there is, from my perspective, was in 2008, it sort of had all businesses holding and pulling back. Now, I think because things have still been doing well with in, so to speak, in the stock market and the economy in that regards, companies are still willing to do more investing, and we're seeing that much more. I think it'll be interesting to see once some of these government programs either phase out or reduce, that we're going to see what impact there is. But I think it is that stock market success so far that is even adding even some more uncertainty to what people think are like what's really going on. Are we going to get an announcement of a vaccine and then everybody's going to start to feel, and that consumer index and all that is going to improve, or is there more fundamental issues with our economy? And certainly I'm not an economist, but I'm seeing businesses acting somewhat similar and holding cash to the side, but in other ways, like viewing things as maybe not as bad as 2008.
I tend to agree with that. But I mean, the stock market is an interesting conundrum right now, because you really have a disconnect between what is going on on the ground and how the stock market is doing. It's also, I just heard, it looks like overall spending, credit card spending in the month of July is actually pretty high and almost back to where you would expect it to be, which just means that people are making purchases, which is probably helping the economy overall. But I agree with you that there's still going to be like the other shoe to drop, right? Either like a vaccine could be delayed or a vaccine could be right there, and people hold their breath. But I think the difference to 2008 is that, generally speaking, people want it to get better. Meaning there's this general thing about like people are not like completely introverted, like going back to kind of like this internal fortress, but they're just waiting for the good news to happen in order to go back to what they want to do. So I think that the sentiment is there. What I wish sometimes is, and it's hard for businesses, is that, and this is one of the things that we're trying to do in our sales process, is like when we talk to clients and prospects, is like, don't look at your feet. Look 3 months, 6 months forward of what you need to do now and how we can help you prepare now for what the options are then, because you want to make sure that you are ready when things turn around. And like a lot of people, their initial response is to just like, look, oh my God, I'm 2 weeks, right? 4 weeks.
Mhm.
And helping them saying, look, totally get it, hard right now, but ultimately for your business, if I like your, even like your travel people, right? Or
Yeah.
like you're like, look, what do you do starting March 2021?
Yes.
How do you capture with what, and how do you know what changes in behavior stay constant and may actually become habits, and where are people going to revert to what they did before because they're just missing it too much?
As we have been talking to various clients and looking at different industries, one of the things that is interesting to us is in the last 4 or 5 years, there has been uh, a move towards brands and really manufacturers who are manufacturing products who are typically push them out through retail or distributor channels to kind of in the last 5 years dipping their toe right into more direct to consumer,
Mm-hmm.
going directly there. And I think the economic downturn that we're facing now, the ways that this pandemic has changed us, has really put, I think, more pressure on them to evaluate those retail and distribution channels. It's not that we're seeing anyone cut and run, but we do feel that those manufacturers are going to have to figure out a more direct to consumer model because of lots of reasons, not least of which retail stores are really, really struggling. And
Yeah.
I say that, trying to say that nicely. There's a real challenge with these stores staying open and relevant in some ways in a world that, delivery at home has now been so accelerated, right? It's nothing groundbreaking to say people are moving to shop online,
Sure.
but it really, really has accelerated. And so brands, I think, are going to have to figure out that balance and whether or not they can afford not to move to at least some sort of more direct
Yeah.
approach to consumers. Certainly they advertise and market to those consumers and continue to do that. But those relationships may have to go further down into the purchase cycle because of things that they are now seeing can really have an impact and things that are out of their control when it comes to delivery of these products to their customers.
I think you're bringing up a good point there. And I think it actually goes for the shopping and the direct to consumer shopping, but it actually goes a step further. I think the challenge that they are facing and that even retail stores need to figure out is the going to the store to stroll and compare habit is kind of like gone right now. You're
Yeah.
going very specifically to a store to figure out what you want, right? And so the question whether they advertise in stores and trying to figure out how you stand out on the shelf versus people looking at, I don't know, a home improvement store, they're looking up online, they say, oh, it's available in my store in aisle 11, bay 17.
Mm-hmm.
They go to that store at 7:30 at night. Actually, I speak from my own experience right now.
Yeah.
And straight to aisle 11, bay 17, pick this thing out and then leave. So the comparison, the chance of exposure to things that you are not aware of in the store is going to be very different because it's a lot more targeted, at least in the short term, a lot more targeted how people go to the store, make purchase decision and get the hell out. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that plays on top of what you're saying with with the manufacturers who have a presence online, who have the ability to convince people and get them into that buying funnel, even when they still buy eventually at the store. A lot more is probably going to happen online, outside the store, outside the confines of what they're currently used to on the manufacturing side.